Hey guys, welcome back. I wanted to go through a couple questions on your homework assignment. So if you are listening to this, you know that your homework is page 7 in your homework packet. Oh, page 9. Let me fix that. Sorry about that. So page 9 in your homework packet, and you need to solve for missing side legs. So just like the notes, if you have not watched the notes by now, you need to do that, or else you have no idea what's going on right now. But assuming you watched the video and you did the notes, you should have your notes outside out with you because we're gonna go through a couple things. So first things first, remember we're doing 45, 45, 90-degree triangles where we are going to follow these rules. So in a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle, the legs are the same and we call them X. And then in a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle, the hypotenuse is whatever X is times the square root of 2. I'm going to erase some of this highlighting because I'll probably end up re-highlighting. Again, I'm just writing on my screen, so thank you so much for staying patient with sometimes the screen goes away or whatever. But we are just going to jump right into this. So I have already labeled the two sides we need to find. We need to find B and we need to find A. And you are going to start each one of these problems the same exact way. First things first is you want to label your three sides, starting with your hypotenuse. So here's my right angle, remember? And so across from there is my hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. And then that means my other two sides are my legs. Okay, and so we have to now figure out what we were given. So one piece of information was given to us, and if we look, it was this 2 root 2, and this 2 root 2 is a leg. And then so you're going to write down what you were given. We were given 2 root 2. And we're going to set that equal to what the rule says for a leg because we were given a leg. So if I go back to my notes, which yours are now right next to you, my notes say that in a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle, the legs are equal to X. So that means, that my leg is going to be equal to X. So X is equal to 2 times the square root of 2. So if this is equal to X, then this side B over here, which is also a leg, is also going to equal 2 times the square root of 2. So one of my answers for B is that B equals 2 times the square root of 2, right? And then so now I need to figure out what A is. So A is my hypotenuse. So again, you're going to go to your rules. Your hypotenuse in a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle, the hypotenuse is equal to whatever X is times the square root of 2. So my hypotenuse is whatever X is times the square root of 2 because the rule says that it's X times the square root of 2, right? And so this is X right here, and we're multiplying it by the square root of 2, and we need to clean this up. So remember, when we multiply rationals, what's on the outside gets multiplied together, and then what's underneath the radical gets multiplied together. So 2 is the only number on the outside here, and we multiply both of the numbers underneath the radical. So 2 times 2, those are both under the radical. Both of these 2's are underneath the radical, right? And then we are going to clean that up. And we're going to have 2 times the square root of 2 times 2 is 4. And then you can leave your answer like this for the sake of, we're not at school right now. You can leave your answer like this. You also, I'm just going to put an asterisk saying this is optional. You can realize that the square root of 4 is 2, and you can pull that out. And so you would have 2 times 2, which is equal to 4. 2 times the square root of 4 and 2 times 2 is 4. These are both the same thing, but you can leave it as 2 times the square root of 4. If whatever I said confused you, just leave your answer as 2 times the square root of 4. So those are my two answers. If you still have questions, please pause the video and ask. Okay? Now, 1 is exactly like 3 or 4. Question 1 is just like question 4. So you can try that one by yourself and send it to me and I can check. Question 2 is just like 4 on the notes. So there's how you do that one. And then I'm going to go over how to do question 3 with you. And if you can do question 3, we'll be good. Question 5 is just like question 2, which is just like your notes. And then you are skipping 6. So I'm going to walk you through how to do number 3, and then you should be good to go. You are going to do 2, 4, and 6. Okay? And then you're going to send me a picture. So we're going to start off each of these problems exactly how we know. So we're going to label our 2 legs and our hypotenuse. So here is my right angle. So across from that is my hypotenuse. Okay, so that means that this side over here is a leg, and this side over here is a leg. And then we are going to highlight what we were given. So we were given that this leg over here is equal to 3 root 2 divided by 2. So we're going to write down what we were given, 3 root 2 divided by 2, and we're going to set that equal to whatever rule it corresponds to. So this is a leg, so I'm going to go to my notes, and in that highlighted corner, figure out what is said about a leg. In a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle, the legs are equal to x. So this is equal to x. Whoa, sorry about that. Let me move that down. Sorry. So this is equal to x. This is helpful because if I know that this side is equal to x, then this leg over here is also equal to x, which is equal to 3 root 2 divided by 2. So y is equal to 3 root 2 divided by 2. So there's one answer, and we still need to figure out what x is. And I'm sorry, we're talking about x as in the letter x. The hypotenuse is not equal to x. Let's rename this to t, and we need to figure out t. So sorry about that, but we still need to figure out the hypotenuse. Now, again, in summary, since this leg over here is 3 root 2 divided by 2, and this is another leg that also has to be 3 root 2 divided by 2, which is what we did right here. Alrighty, and we found out that that was x, so now we need to figure out the hypotenuse, and we're going to call that t. So we need to figure out the rule for the hypotenuse. So going back to my rules, in a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle, the hypotenuse is equal to whatever x is times the square root of 2, the square root of 2. So my hypotenuse is whatever x is x times the square root of 2. And we know what x is, though. X is the 3 root 2 divided by 2. So we're going to substitute that in. So 3 square root of 2 divided by 2. Oh, geez, sorry. 3 square root of 2 divided by 2 times the square root of 2. So this right here is my x. That's kind of like a bad arrow, but that is my x. And the rule says to take whatever your x is and multiply it by the square root of 2. So that's where those came from. And we're going to multiply. So we're going to do the same thing we just did. We're going to do 3. And then we multiply the numbers on the outside with the numbers on the outside of the radical and the numbers on underneath with the numbers underneath. So 3 is the only number outside the radical. And then we're going to multiply the 2 numbers underneath the radical. So 2 times 2, because this 2 is underneath the radical and that 2 is underneath the radical. And then we still have the 2 on the bottom. Okay, then we're going to clean that up. We're going to clean this up. So we're going to have 3 times the square root of 4 divided by 2. And you should be asking yourself, in the last problem I said, if this is a nice number, you can leave the square root of 4. But ask yourself, is the square root of 4 a nice number? And you're going to say yes. And if you're not sure, check your calculator. Square root of 4, enter, and that's 2. So we're going to rewrite that as 3 times 2 divided by 2. And so 3 times 2 is 6. Let me write that. Divided by 2. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So all that work, it looks like a lot of work. As you get more comfortable with it, you will be able to narrow down some of these steps. But t is also equal to 3. My hypotenuse is equal to 3. Again, if this is the hardest problem by far. A problem like number 3 is the hardest problem by far, and I did that with you. Do not let 3 discourage you from wanting to do a problem like 5, 4, or 2. So please do questions 2, 4, and 5 and send me a picture. Let me know if you need any help. Please do not be afraid to ask any questions. You are never bothering me.